Hello, Internet. This is Girl Hates World. I'm coming to you from the staircase in my dorm because my roommate is in my room and I wanted to be able to film this video about my freshman year experience where I dated somebody with schizophrenia. Um, so, me and this guy met my freshman year when I started college, so literally last year. And we met on Tinder and we like messaged and then we decided to go hang out. And he was another student at my school. So then we went to go get Panera and he kind of seemed like something was a little bit different about him, but I just thought it was because like he had been kind of like a party kid. He came from a really small town and he was kind of just like the opposite of me. So I wasn't very used to that coming into university. So it was very interesting getting to meet him. And then so we went on a few dates and then we really started to kind of like each other more. After a while, it kind of like became like we were kind of a thing. I don't know. It was like a few weeks and we didn't really put a label on it because I didn't know how I was feeling and he didn't know how he was feeling. So I learned about his schizophrenia when he stopped taking his medication and ended up in the hospital. Basically, what happened was he was starting to get chest pains from not taking the medications um, because his body was used to it. So he was getting chest pains, and then at some point, it felt like he was having a heart attack, and then somebody called the campus police and the ambulance, and like he was rushed over to a hospital, and then there they realized that like he wasn't taking his prescription. Yeah, because it had been on his like records or something that he took medicine. I don't even know. So yeah, he got hospitalized. We didn't talk for a few days. Actually, was it like a week? He kind of like went MIA. I thought he was just like pulling the normal Tinder boy thing and like disappearing, but he was in the hospital and then he called me and like kind of told me that he was stuck in this hospital. He didn't really say why until like I think the day of Thanksgiving. He was like, "Oh, hey, by the way, like I'm in here because I'm supposed to be taking medicine for schizophrenia and I stopped taking it." Um, I didn't really know what to say. I was like, I don't really, I know a lot about different mental illnesses, but I know enough that it's pretty much different for everyone. So I can just assume that, like, oh, like he saw certain things or like whatever. Like, I can't really assume anything. So I was like, okay. And I'd rather have had him like more explain his experience to me, but he didn't want to. So I didn't force it like yeah, so he was in there for a bit and then he came back and then he was on his medicine when he came back. um as far as symptoms go, I didn't really notice anything. I noticed that he before he even went to a hospital he was very hyperactive, like to move, didn't like to stay in the same place. I assumed it was ADD, but I guess that was maybe like an after effect of having been taking the medicine before we met, because like the whole time we were together he was not on the medicine. um, so yeah, so when he came back and he was on the medicine, he was even more hyper. He couldn't sit still. He couldn't like just watch a movie. Like there had to be some kind of activity going on. I noticed, and that kind of got in the way because I'm just like super lazy. So like it wasn't even like his mental illness. Like it was just like a side effect of his medicine that made him like super hyperactive, and I was way too lazy to keep up with that. Sometimes I notice we'd be having a conversation and he would be like a few steps ahead of me in the conversation and kind of like continue on as if I had spoken. And he said that was just like something that he did. I didn't know if it was a symptom of schizophrenia. When I looked it up, it said that like some people do experience that when they're talking to somebody with schizophrenia, they'll be like steps ahead in the conversation. Yeah, so like a main thing I noticed was that like his schizophrenia didn't really get in the way. It just ended up making him like super hyper. I didn't really know too much about his symptoms other than like he said he could like hear voices sometimes. He didn't tell me if he saw anything, and so yeah, that's basically like I didn't really notice anything about his symptoms other than the hyperactivity. I didn't know too much about his symptoms to begin with because other than being able to like hear voices sometimes, he didn't really say if he could see anything or whatever. But like I don't know, it wasn't really, no, I was curious, but it wasn't like, oh my gosh, like I need to know. Like my sister was kind of afraid, but I was like people have like experience mental illness different ways and like have different symptoms, and it didn't seem like there was any paranoia going on. So I felt like I was relatively safe. I didn't like the fact that he was not on his medication because people with schizophrenia have like high rates of not taking their medication. I know there's a word for that, but I don't know what it is right now. I think it's non-compliance actually, of like non-compliance. And but yeah, that was kind of like my experience seeing somebody with schizophrenia. We dated for 2 or so months, and it was no, it was like 3 months, and we like kind of hang out, and I don't know, we just kind of ended up ending it because it turned out that he was a jerk. So yeah, like I don't know, we really didn't see eye to eye on a lot of things, and he was way. But yeah, that was my experience dating somebody with schizophrenia. I hope this helped. Like it's just like dating anyone else, really. Just yeah, it's just like dating anyone else. Unless they're a jerk, then don't date them. But like like I don't think that schizophrenia should really be something that stops you from dating somebody. Peace out, Girl Scout.